Hello everyone, my name is Deepika Verma. I am Senior Research Fellow of Batch 2019 under supervision of Professor Rajiv Kumar Sir, Sociology Department. In this presentation, I would like to discuss some other basic concepts of sociology, which are association and institution. So let's see them one by one. First of all, let's discuss the meaning of association. So, men have diverse needs, desires, and interests, and ends which demand their satisfaction. They have three ways of fulfilling their needs. Firstly, they may act independently, each in his own way, without bothering about others. This is unsocial and has its own limitations. Secondly, men may seek their ends through conflicts with one another. One may clash with others to snatch things or objects which one wants from others. And finally, men may try to fulfill their needs through cooperation and mutual assistance. On the basis of this cooperative effort, each individual will be contributing to the ends of his fellow men. This cooperative pursuit has a reference to association. When a group or collection of individuals organize itself expressly for the purpose of pursuing certain of its interests together on a cooperative pursuit, an association is said to be born. In this way, an association is a social organization that is more or less purposefully created for attainment of relatively specific and limited goals. When a group or collection of individuals organize itself expressly for the purpose of pursuing certain of its interests together or on a cooperative pursuit, an association is said to be born. For example, there are many types of association existing like political association, religious association, student associations, labor associations, trained nurses associations, teacher associations, etc. The associations may be found in different fields. No single association can satisfy all the interests of the individual or individuals. Since the man has bundles of interest, he organizes various associations for the purpose of fulfilling his varied interest. It follows then that a man may belong to more than one association. He may be the member of a political association, a religious association, a cultural association, a professional association, an entertainment club, etc. So, in this way, it is very clear about the meaning of association. Now, let's see different thinkers' definitions about association. First is of McIver. McIver says that an association is an organization deliberately formed for the collective pursuit of some interest or a set of interests which its members share. Morris Ginsburg, another thinker, says that an association is a group of social beings related to one another by the fact that they possess or have instituted in common organization with an view to securing a specific end or specific ends. Another thinker, Tony, says that associations are the groups which are formed to protect the interests connected with public life, trade, science, etc. in modern societies. In this way, different thinkers have expressed their views about association. Now, let's discuss various characteristics of an association. First is it is an organized group of people. An association is formed or created by people. It is basically a social group. Without people, there can be a no association. However, all the groups are not association because an association is basically an organized group. An unorganized group like crowd or mob cannot be an association. Next one is it has formal membership. The members has to be has to take the membership to get into the association. Next is definite goals. Uh, every association has certain definite goal and written rules. There are certain written rules and regulations how to run the association, how to communicate with each other, and how to act accordingly. Next is voluntary membership. The membership of association is voluntary in nature. It means that a person cannot be forced to join an association. It is his own choice to become a member of a particular association. Next is association are more likely to be temporary in nature, and they can be formed and they can also be destroyed. Next is common interest. The association is not merely a collection of individuals. It consists of those individuals who have more or less the same interest. Accordingly, those who have political interest may join a political institution, and those who have religious interest may join any religious association, and so on. And association has is based on a cooperative spirit of its members. People work together to achieve some definite purposes. For example, a political party have to work together as a united group on the basis of cooperation in order to fulfill the objectives of coming to power. An association denotes some kind of organization within a community. It means an association is known essentially as an organized group. Organization gives stability and proper shape to an association. Organization refers to the way in which the status and roles are distributed among the members of that association. In this way, every association has its own ways and means of regulating the relations of its members. Organization depend on this element of regulation. In this way, these are the basic characteristics of an association. Now let's discuss about the institution. Uh, in general terms, institution can be considered in a different way, but in sociological field, institution has a definite different meaning. An institution is not a building, it is not a group of people, it is not an organization. An institution is a system of norms to achieve some goal or activity that people feel is important, or more formally an organized cluster of folkways and mores centered around a major human activity. Institutions are structured processes through which people carry on their activities. In this way, a social institution is a procedure, practice, and an instrument combination of variety of customs and habits accumulated over a period of time. Institutions are instruments and tools of human transactions. An institution is thus a stable cluster of norms, values, and roles. According to H.E. Bernays, social institutions are the social structure and machinery through which human society organizes, directs, and executes the multifarious activities required to society for human need. They are broad conceptual framework that look into and govern a particular aspect of societal life. In the examples of an institution are family, marriage, education, law, constitution, etc. Now let's see different definitions given by different sociological thinkers about the institution. According to Ginsberg, institution may be described as recognized and established usages governing the relation between individual and groups. According to McIver and Page, institution may be defined as the established forms or condition of procedures characteristic of group activity. According to Kinsley Davis, institution can be defined as a set of interwoven folkways, mores, and laws built around one or more functions. According to C.A. Allen Wood, institution may be defined as the habitual ways of living together which have been sanctioned, systemized, and established by the authority of communities. In this way, these are few definitions given by different thinkers about institution. Now let's see the basic characteristics of institution. First is institution are social in nature. That means institution come in being due to collective activities of people. They are essentially social in nature. After all, institutions are the products of secular and repetitive forms of social relationships of individuals. Second is universality. Institutions are ubiquitous. They exist in all the societies and existed at all the stages of social development. The basic institutions like family, religion, property, and some kind of political institution are observed even in tribal or primitive societies. Next characteristic is institutions are standardized norms. That means an institution may be understood as an standardized procedures and norms. They prescribe the way of doing things. They also prescribe rules and regulations that are to be followed. For example, marriage as an institution governs the relations between the husband and wife. Similarly, the school or college has its own rules and procedures. Next is institutions are the means of satisfying needs. Institutions are established by men themselves. They cater to the satisfaction of some basic and vital needs of man. These basic needs are need for self-preservation, the needs of self-perpetuation, and the need for self-expression. Next is institutions are the controlling mechanisms, which means that institutions like religion, morality, state, government, law, legislation, etc. control the behavior of man. These mechanisms preserve the social order and give stability to it. Institutions are like wheels on which human society marches on towards the desired destination. Next is institutions are relatively permanent. They normally do not undergo sudden or rapid changes. Changes take place slowly and gradually in them. Many institutions are rigid and enduring. They, in course of time, become the conservative elements in society. For example, like caste, religion, etc. But under the pressure of circumstances, they also undergo changes but very slowly. Next is it is abstract in nature. That means institutions are not external, visible or tangible things. They are abstract, uh, which means that if we take an example that marriage cannot be kept in a museum, religion cannot be rated or quantified, war cannot be weighted, or and law cannot be brought to the laboratory experiments, and so on. Next is there are oral and written traditions about institutions, which mean that institutions may persist in the form of oral or written traditions. For the primitive societies, they may be largely oral, but in modern complex societies, they may be observed in written as well as unwritten forms. There may be written institutional forms like constitutions, sacred textbooks, syllabus, government orders, business contracts, examinations, system, etc., related to political, religious, educational, and economic institutions. Next is institution has synthesizing symbols. Institution may have their own symbols, material or non-material. For example, the state has a flag embellishment, national anthem, and its symbols. Religion may have its own symbols like crucifix, crescent, star, swastika, etc. The school may have its own flag or school prayer. Marriage may have its own wedding ring or other uh, symbols. In this way, institutions, though diverse, are interrelated. Understanding of one institution requires the understanding of others. The religion, moral, educational, political, economic, and other type of institutions are essentially interlinked. In this way, institutions cater to satisfy the needs of the human beings. Institutions control human behavior. They simplify action for an individual. Institutions assign roles and status to an individual and contribute to the unity and uniformity among them. Now let's discuss about how institutions and associations are related to each other. When men create association, they must also create rules and procedures for the dispatch of common businesses and for the regulation of members. Such forms are distinctively institution. That means every association in accordance with its particular interest has its characteristic institution. For example, the church has its own sacraments, its modes of worship, its rituals. The family has marriage, that is the institution of mating relationship. It has home, the family meals, etc. The state has its own peculiar institutions such as a representative government and legislative procedures. Thus, an institution is the established form or conditions of procedure characteristic of group activity. Next point is we do not belong to institution but to association. That means that sometimes a confusion arises between institutions and associations because the same term in a different context may mean either one or the other. There is no difficulty in deciding according to our definition that church is an association and communion an institution. The trade union is an association and collective bargaining an institution. That the family is an association and monogamy an institution. But which term shall we apply to a hospital, a parliament, a prison, or a college? When we speak of a hospital, we may, by thinking of a building for the care of sick, a system of medical service, a provision publicly or privately established to meet certain social needs. In other words, we may be thinking of it as an institution, but we may also think it as a body of physicians, nurses, attendants, in other words, as an association. There is a simple way in which we can find the answer to our question. So, if we are considering something as an organized group, then it is an association. If a form of procedure, then it is an institution. So, association denotes membership and institution denotes a mode of means of service. Which means that when we regard a college as a body of teachers and students, we are selecting its associational aspect. But when we regard it as an educational system, then we are selecting its institutional features. We cannot belong to an institution, but we do not belong to marriage or property system or solitary confinement, but we do belong to families, to states, and sometimes to prisons. In this way, the difference between association and institution is very clear, that an association is an organized group of people for the purpose of fulfilling needs, but the institution refer to the organized way of doing things. It represents common procedure. Association denotes membership. We belong to associations, political parties, trade unions, club, families, etc. But the institution denotes only a mode of means of service. We do not belong to institution, we belong to marriage, property, education. We do not belong to marriage, property, education or law. In this way, association consists of individuals, but institution consists of laws, rules and regulations. Associations are concrete, but institutions are abstract in nature. An association has a location. It makes sense to ask where it is. Thus, a family can be located in a space, but an institution do not have locations. The question where it is make no sense at all. Thus, we cannot locate examination, education, marriage, etc. Associations are mostly created or established, but institutions are primarily evolved. An association may have its own distinctive name, but institutions do not possess specific names but has a structure and may have symbols. And a last, association may be temporary or permanent, but institutions are relatively more durable. In this way, it is very clear about institutions and associations. This presentation was all about the basic meaning of institution and associations and their relation with each other. I hope you all of you have gained some knowledge through it. Thank you so much.